Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see everybody out there once again, and welcome back to another episode of The Week here on Renegade Nation. Glad all of you could join us. Do me a solid as you're filing in right now. Make sure you hit the like button on this stream, and if you're not subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Some of you may be watching on YouTube on my channel or on Ron Coleman's channel. Some of you may be watching on X on one of our channels over there. Do us a favor, head on over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channels here. Hop on into the chat. The water is a lot warmer on the YouTube side. We do love our X audience. I just wish I wish the chat was a little bit more fun and frivolic over there. But it is on YouTube, so we welcome you aboard. But we love having everybody here, no matter where you're watching from. And joining me, as always, is Ron Coleman. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you?
Very, very good. Ron, are you going to be boycotting or looting tomorrow when your SNAP benefits run out like mine do?
Well, it depends who wins the NBA Finals. Oh no, it's only October.
Oh, darn it. Well, we'll get to that story. Are you excited about the renovations for the East Wing? We're going to get the big Waffle House on that side.
I'm devastated. I have the memories that I have of the East Wing. Growing up in the East Wing, Christmas morning, President Dad would come down with, all the great Apollo 7 toys that we enjoyed so much. What do you want from me? What do you want from me on this?
I don't know. We have somebody who wants to share an opinion, though.
Oh, my gosh. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Is there a mechanism for doing that?
Yeah, there is. Watch. Here it is right here. Here we go.
Are you fucking kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends.
Oh, she hates rich people.
Completely.
Yeah, they only funded her entire campaign.
There's one person how about her being married to one?
Yeah. I don't think Doug's on Snap. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you know what? Anytime that you can say that Dana Walden, the second in command basically over at Disney, introduced me to my husband in our schwanky Brentwood neighborhood. I don't know if you're on Snap. Kamala ain't happy though.
Are you fucking kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends while completely turning a blind eye to the fact that babies are going to starve when the SNAP benefits end in just hours from now.
Always.
Republicans are going to push old people off a cliff, Ron. In the wheelchair, Grandma's going over the cliff. If y'all don't remember, that was actually a real campaign commercial during the Bush years. Yeah.
Come on. So what? I'm not going to be distracted by, does the guy have a big fucking hammer? What about those babies?
Right. The babies.
How is it that Kamala's people can't stop her from being wine drunk every interview that she gives?
What's the difference? Listen,
I don't know.
No one who voted for her because of her eloquence or sobriety. Like it's irrelevant. She is a placeholder in a placeholder party.
Oh man. For $100 super chat, we'll take Kamala off the screen. No, I'm kidding. Otherwise, you got to look at her the whole show. Jeremy, D-Day Cobra taught me that. He told me last week, and he's like, you don't know how to grift. You make the audience pay to get rid of the stuff they hate seeing on the screen. I was like, that's not a bad idea. So,
you have to have the leverage, though. You have to have the leverage.
You do. Look, see, people get it. Grift it. Grift it. Oh, man. Ron, this whole debate over what's going on right now with the government shutdown? I know we touched on this last week, but we're still here and it's still going on. And now we're kind of reaching the 0 hour, right? November 1st, day after tomorrow, Saturday, there are going to be, unfortunately, a lot of working people. Granted, they work for the federal government, but a lot of working people that, okay, the paychecks are going to be dried up. But the debate, mostly from the Democrats, has been about, well, let's face it, their voters not getting their welfare benefits on November 1st. And it seems to me, Ron, that, the Republicans have passed a funding bill in the House, and it has stalled out in the Senate because you can't get a handful of Democrats to cross over and break a filibuster. I mean, how do you have any thoughts on how long you think this is going to go? I mean, what is going to be the end game here for these guys?
I believe it is going to be resolved within the next 10 days.
10 days. Okay. Yeah. What makes you say that?
The Democrats are going to peel off. This is getting them nothing. It's not going to help them with whatever elections they have going. It certainly isn't going to last till 2026. And it's not even helping them. I mean, listen, I'm kind of glad we don't have Mark on tonight because I think he's wrong about so much of what he says. And, and he's a real Debbie Downer. I really think Republicans and Trump are winning the battle right now.
My gut instinct agrees with you, and I love Mark, and I know you don't. No, you do
Mark,
too. Yeah,
Mark isn't just making. Here's the thing: the difference between Mark and like me is he's not just making shit up.
Right? Exactly.
Everything he's saying is based on on actual research. But on the other hand, remember, I don't want to trash Mark when he's not here, but I also don't want to insult him to his face. Remember, Epstein was going to destroy Trump a month ago. Stuff blows over, Stuff. I think we don't have a sufficient appreciation yet. Those of us who didn't grow up with the internet, just how fast things change and move. This isn't going to do any good for the Democrats in 2026. Whatever happens in this, but meanwhile, they're seeding, SEDING seeding, administrative, political, and management control over the government to Trump. Why would you do that?
Yeah, and look, we've got our felon lawyer out there who's watching. It looks like are you watching on both? Because that's crazy, dude. I've never seen both the. Or that's the linked logo. I see. So you must be on Ron's channel. Federal employees, no Democrats. I was thinking
at first people watching on Ron's channel.
No. At first I looked at it wrong and I thought it was the Twitter symbol, the X, and the YouTube thing underneath it. And I took a second gander at it. I was like, okay, wait, I misread that. But he says federal employees, no Democrats are at fault, and they aren't happy. That's an interesting statement I've not heard before. I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. I'm just saying that's fascinating to me if that's true.
They're not happy. They're not happy, but is there any chance whatsoever that they won't vote Democrat?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, we all know, people ask, how is it a state like Virginia could have swung blue over the last few decades? Because Virginia is the suburb of Washington, D.C. It's the feeder band for the Beltway. And it's very hard left leaning. It's nothing but a bunch of lifetime bureaucrats. It's overwhelming. While I'm at it, let me grab some of these super chats so we can get caught up, and I appreciate everybody's support tonight. Keep sending them in. We'll read every single one of them. Tennessee Tornado for 5 sent one something or other gifted membership. And Tennessee also said for 2, note, memberships are not EBT eligible. There you go. Packing Protons for 5 gifted 1 Ron Coleman owns this channel membership. There we go. And we've got C.D. Reese for 5. North Dakota's governor announced today the state will cover our food stamps. I love this state. Well, you bring up a great point. It's a great segue to something I wanted to talk about. Because, Ron, ultimately, who is in charge of the SNAP benefit programs? It's the states, right? I mean, they operate them, do they not?
I don't know this stuff. What the hell do I know about this kind of thing? I'm proud to say. I mean, listen, it's my late father used to say, I can't be so laissez-faire about welfare programs. But his grandmother raised him,
mm-hmm.
and she was an immigrant. He said if my grandmother didn't get what they used to call relief,
mm-hmm.
She didn't get relief. I don't know how she would have made a living. She was an elderly woman. No husband, no means of support. That's not what we're talking about now.
No, it's not.
That's not
and
what
we've
we're talking about.
got some crazy videos out there that are piling up. Thanks to, and I don't know who runs it. I don't know if it's Kaya or if it's somebody else that just kind of did a play on the name. But that new X page, EBT of TikTok, man, that thing's exploding. And it's basically the same type of format that Libs of TikTok became famous for, just taking videos of people posting their crazy, in this case, intentions to commit felonies on Saturday and reposting them on X.
It's the Libs of TikTok formula, after all.
Yeah, exactly. It's her formula. So, but the point, but the super chat here, that the state will make up the difference. Now, two things about this that I want to address. One is, first of all, the state of North Dakota. Each state runs their own benefit program. Louisiana has their Louisiana EBT SNAP program. Texas has theirs. The funding, the lion's share of it comes down from the federal government, but the states individually operate it. So the states can make up a shortfall.
I mean, that's what I understand.
Right, yeah, if need be. Now, here's the other thing, though. A state like North Dakota, I would wager heavily, if I was a betting man, that the state of North Dakota's burden when it comes to welfare is probably significantly below the national average. Okay? Just a guess.
You're smiling a little because you're being a little bit facetious, but sometimes there are surprises there in the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it's going in North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. But like a lot of states aren't economically and demographically structured or made up the way they were 20, 30 years ago. So
right.
But you're probably right.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not saying they don't have anybody there that's on welfare. I'm sure they have a number, but I would wager a guess that their number, in terms of the percentage of their population, is probably a lot less than the national average, just based on demographic makeup. Right now, at the same token, a state like where I am in Louisiana, I would tell you has an inordinately high number, percentage-wise, of folks that are probably on these welfare benefit programs. And again, it's white, it's black, it's a mixture. Yeah. And there are a number of states out there like that. Like, for example, I don't believe in any way that the state of Louisiana would have the capacity to cover the federal underrun of funding for these benefit programs, welfare, come Saturday morning. right?
I would be surprised if Louisiana did. That's for sure.
No, that's what I'm saying, right? They just don't. Now again, part of this is, and we're going to get to some of these videos that are floating around out there. Some of the folks that are getting upset that their benefits are looking like they're going to get cut off, at least for the time being. We don't know how long it could run out. Ron, you might be right. We might have a resolution here in the next 10 days. We'll see. And I think, honestly, you have a very valid point there, because I think the pressure that's going to be brought to bear come Saturday, Sunday, Monday into next week when these benefits are cut off, and according to a lot of folks out there posting their own confessions on TikTok about what they're planning to do, the premeditated felonies they're planning to commit on Saturday at places like Walmart and Target. You know, I would wager a guess here, Ron, that there's probably a few in the Senate that are Democrats that are in jeopardy come midterms. And they're straddling a fine line, and maybe they would be enticed to cross the aisle. Is that kind of where your thought process is on the caving?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a potential for a lot of social dislocation here that's going to be pinned on the Democrats. If what you're alluding to were really to happen, no one's going to blame the Republicans for that. No one, because everyone knows who created this monster.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, it was created back in the 70s. It was LBJ, the Great Society kind of movement that brought in a lot of these. Actually, we talked about this last night when we had the ladies show on the main channel, because we were chit-chatting about this. And, you know, for those of y'all who watch me regularly, you know, Stephanie from Geeks and Gamers is a good friend. Stephanie is a very, very sharp lady. I mean, she's very opinionated, and she's also very well versed and educated in so many different topics, especially on stuff like this. And she's always got a lot to say. We had a conversation about this last night, and you know, the people out there, we kind of went into a little bit of history on this, talked about how, you know, people complain about, oh, the cost of medical care and this and that. Well, it all goes back to that same era when we started instituting programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and once we moved to a virtual single-payer system with the government being in charge of everything, the prices blew up. I mean, they skyrocketed. And one of the things in there, you know, the other complaints besides EBT is the Obamacare situation. And you've got, and let me pull this up, Chuck Schumer, man, has basically been doing all of my laundry today with all the stuff he's been posting. I mean, just really helping me out. And here it is right here. Chuck Schumer, let me bring this up. We talked a little bit about this last week, and this is an illustration of precisely what we were talking about. This is the other thing that's being bantied about by the Democrats. Your health care premiums are going to explode because of the shutdown, because of Republicans, because of Donald Trump. To which, of course, we said, no, the premiums have been this bad. The problem is you, the American public, have never seen them. If you're paying, if you have an individual policy, we're not talking about those of you who have insurance through your employer or something like that. We're talking about people like me who have to buy individual policies. And he shows here 2025 premiums. Plattsburgh, this is all in New York, $124. 2026 premiums, $1,500, right, a month, and it goes on down the list.
Yeah, what you're looking at here is a list of how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of 12 cities in New York State, of which I guarantee you 10 of them Schumer did not carry. This is upstate New York, which has largely become depopulated and become economically, Rust Belt. These folks, these are not red cities. They don't care. They don't, if they're on Twitter or if they're on X, as Will Stansel would say, if they're on X.com, they're not following Chuck. This is all for the base. There's no one takes these clowns seriously with their. You can tell that they coordinate their messaging, and they're great at that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're great at it, except that it really comes across as coordinated. It's really conspicuous.
Well, we've talked about this before. Back in the heyday in the 90s, the early heydays of Rush Limbaugh when he was becoming big, this was one of his big things he always did on his radio program at least a couple of times a week, where he would do the montage of all the news media that morning magically coming up with almost the exact same verbiage of talking points, whether it was ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, so on and so forth, the New York Times, the Washington Post. They would use the same one-liners, the same language, the same buzzword. And back then it was, Rush Limbaugh was talking about how they all got the facts that morning on the fax machine from the DNC telling them this is what you talk about today. And then, of course, I think the most famous one was when we had the election in 2000, and everybody within 30 minutes that morning on the morning news, everybody magically pulled the word gravitas out of their butt.
Right.
George Bush doesn't have the gravitas to be president. And within 30 minutes, every newscaster was using that particular word, and it was so obvious at that point. And I think that was one of the seminal moments.
How about the Joy campaign? That really took off, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The joy. It's so much joy. We need more joy. More joy. Do I have to put Kamala back up on the screen, Chad? No, but here's the issue with this chart, and this is what I want to make everybody aware of. The premiums haven't changed. Not really. Health insurance goes up a few percentage points on average every year, as everything does. We see price increases across the board. This list trying to show that because the Republicans aren't giving in to all the extra pork that the Democrats want, they have enough votes to pass this bill. What they don't have enough votes for is in the Senate to stop the debate, to end the filibuster that the Democrats want to keep going. You need 60 votes for that, right? Mm-hmm. Short of using the quote-unquote nuclear option, right, which has been done in the past. What you're seeing here is what happens. It's going to go from 124 to 115. You're going to see that because the welfare benefit is not there. The welfare benefit, short of a government reactivation, is going to be gone. And the welfare benefit, like your premium in Plattsburgh, North Country, okay, this $515 that Schumer has published, that's your premium right now. That's been your premium all year. You've been getting $1,400 almost in federal welfare subsidies. You're only seeing the bill for the leftover. It's like Section 8. Hey, the rent's $1,000 a month. I got a $900 a month Section 8 voucher.
No,
you owe your landlord an extra $100. Your rent isn't $100. Your rent is $1,000.
Free medical care, free tuition. Nothing's free.
No. But this is the lie they're trying to peddle. Ron, what do you think about this? What's going to happen, right? If your supposition is correct, and I think you're onto something there, that look. People's political memories are very, very short term. And I understand what you're saying about Mark. Mark is right. Rasmussen is right. All he's doing is telling you this is what the polling data says. But the midterms are over a year away at this point. A little over a year away. But, still. This is going to be a gone pecan by then. But what could be, if the Republicans are wise about this, and I think this is why they're holding so firm, it's going to expose not only the failure that is Obamacare, which is why the premiums are this high to begin with, but it's going to expose the fact that this welfare state cannot continue in its current form. And something's going to have to be done about it. And maybe the something that has to be done about it is going to be, we may need to go back and revisit Obamacare again, the Affordable Care Act, because it ain't so affordable as Democrats made it out to be. But they had to pass the bill so you could see what was in it. We found out.
It's going to expose, but what does that mean? Like, what's going to actually happen? Again, you've got a hardcore of Democrat voters who are going to vote 25% minimum, who are going to vote Democrat regardless of the facts, regardless of the personalities. Literally tens of millions of people actually voted for Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. It actually happened.
Yeah.
And it was less than a year ago, barely, but it happened. So so those guys are off the table. And let's say there's a 25% hardcore, conservatives. Also, doesn't matter.
Right.
So now is the middle paying attention to what gets exposed? Or maybe it's possible. I mean, look, I think a lot of us were really skeptical that Republicans and Donald Trump could win last November. Mm-hmm. It seemed like nothing mattered. It seemed like, doofus politics was in our future forever. And yet there is a point where you can have candidates bad enough, like Harris was, that you really could lose an election. So maybe issues really can matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly in terms of the national debate, one thing's for sure. We're still at the point where the national media doesn't, the corporate media simply ignores stories that harm its side. They have yet to report on Arctic frost. What is it? The all that stuff that's coming out from about how the FBI was monitoring the entire Republican congressional caucus. It doesn't even exist in the Times. It's not happening. So yeah. I mean, you got to fight. This is the fight that we have. We fight with the ideas. We fight with the messaging. And right now, they're giving us, like you said, they're doing our laundry for us.
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, there's been so many posts, and I mean, a litany of these things from Democrats, mostly in the Senate, or ones that want to be senator, or they're the sort. You got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says in 2 days, Donald Trump will cut off SNAP benefits for more than 3 million New Yorkers. The bill hasn't even gotten to Donald Trump's desk yet. But yet somehow, again, it's Trump's fault, right? Not because the USDA doesn't have the money, but because Donald Trump, thinks starving people helps him politically. Again, they're going to push grandma over a cliff in her wheelchair.
Yeah, I really don't think this messaging moves anyone anymore.
No.
It really doesn't. Again, if it's for the base, it's for the base. But
yep,
what's the base going to do for them right now? There's not, it's not going to help them in the midterms. It's that's a year away.
Right.
What's the base going to do for them? It's not going to get them out of this problem.
No, I don't think it is. And I mean, the key we always talk about, or everybody talks about, especially in election cycles, is that middle, right? The unaffiliated. Party unaffiliated voters, the independents, or whatever you want to call them, that 30 some odd % that are neither Republicans nor Democrats. Where are they going to go? How are they feeling about this? I would probably put it to anybody out there. The overwhelming majority of those folks are just normal middle America people, probably not sustained by welfare programs. And they're seeing some of these things now, and they're tuning in more. And I think you're right, Ron. I don't think this helps the Democrats move the needle on that middle 30%. I don't think it helps swing anybody towards Democrats in that independent segment.
Yeah, it's just They have been running on Republicans are going to kill grandma since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And folks, how long ago that was.
I'm going to get to some of these other ones here. I want to try to keep going down. Here we go. Adam Schiff. Everybody loves Adam Schiff. Come on, man.
Yeah, he is a crowd pleaser.
Oh, total. I cannot. Oh, I didn't realize this video was 9 minutes. Good Lord. I'm never going to make it through this whole thing.
Well, that's why I put on all that makeup.
Okay, so let's just read the headline here. The government is shut down. Millions are going to go hungry and lose their health care. Oh, boy. But Donald Trump is holding weekly meetings to discuss his golden ballroom. So I guess he goes on this.
Somebody told them. Mm-hmm. Somebody, in the focus group. Oh, Americans are this ballroom thing is a great wedge issue. Mm-hmm. The people are going to be outraged that the White House might have a ballroom as large as a wedding hall. Really?
Yeah.
Really? You think that really bothers people? I don't think that really bothers people. And just the irony, the Democrats are the party of the plutocracy. Mm-hmm. The wealthiest people are Democrats.
Yeah.
The idea that they're going to run on envy. I mean, that's a party whose leaders almost literally purchase their offices. I mean, how does big fat Jay Pritzker become governor?
Oh, yeah.
Illinois, right? Just
lots of cheeseburgers.
Nobody. I hope he's not eating the ones made by Chuck, where he puts the cheese on the wrong.
Oh God, that was so bad. Do you think that J.B. Pritzker and Chris Christie get together once a year for like a hot dog eating contest? I just have this terrible image in my head of this.
That is pretty terrible.
I'll try to get through some of this here. Let's see what California's most famous walking, talking penis has to say.
So tonight I want to talk about this image, this one right here, this indelible image of the destruction of the East Wing of the White House. Why is this image so transfixing? Why is this image so captivating, so appalling to so many millions of Americans? What does it say about the Trump administration?
I don't know, but I'm guessing his next line is going to be Putin made him do it. Remember, this is the same guy, Adam Schiff, that for years sat there in the United States House, freeze framed this on a perfect image, sat there in the United States House of Representatives, looked into the camera and all the quote-unquote witnesses that came before him, and knowingly lied his ass off about Trump-Russia collusion, the Steele dossier, the Perkins Coie law firm that Hillary Clinton and her campaign used to put this crap out there. The typical, the big K Street lobbyist boys, right?
Zero accountability. Well, let's not be hasty.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this image is significant for a host of reasons. But perhaps most significant in that it is reflective of Donald Trump's main priority. His main priority right now, which is not making sure that people can afford their health care. It's not putting an end to the government shutdown. It is not trying to feed people who are hungry.
Hang on.
To the contrary, he is cutting off food assistance for poor.
This guy is in the Senate now, is he not, Ron?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so Ron Coleman, did Adam Schiff vote to end the filibuster in the Senate, passing the budget bill and reopening the government? Did he vote to reopen the government? Yes or no?
Of course not. But that's they don't think they do seem to not to really believe that they can fool all the people all the time. They really think that people don't know what's going on in the Senate. That merely by asserting that it's the Republicans who aren't doing their who aren't dealing fair and square, however they want to put it, that people will blame the Republicans. Everyone knows that the Republicans have just said, let's pass a continuing resolution like we always do, and that these guys won't do it. It's all performative, man.
It is.
Why even?
They want the pork, but I agree with you. I think they're sowing the seeds of their own destruction here.
You'd like to think so, but there isn't really much. That's a good one. There's really not much he could do to not be reelected for the rest of time, other than be incarcerated.
No, I'm not talking about guys like Schiff. I'm talking about the ones that are more vulnerable. I'm talking about the overall balance of power in the Senate. And I think that's what, they're not considering that now. I think they've had so much power to craft the narrative and, frankly, the gaslighting for so many decades. They're still stuck on stupid when it comes to this. That this is still 1995 or 2005 even, to where they can still peddle this stuff. And if the old adage, hey, if you repeat the lie enough times, then it becomes the truth. And I think that's still where they are.
The president's main priority is building a 90,000 square foot ballroom, a gilded ballroom. You don't have to take my word for that. Here's Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, talking about Donald Trump's
he's not going to peddle this lie again.
At this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority.
Okay, let's stop right. Okay, this was debunked 17 ways to Sunday because they deliberately cut out the part right before this where the question from the journalist comes in and asks Caroline Leavitt, is something to the effect of, is this the president's top reconstruction of the White House priority? Is this, is this East Wing reformation or renovation rather, is this the main thing that Trump is focused on when it comes to White House renovations? It was specific to that. Not is this the biggest thing that Trump is doing right now as president. But again, this is a deliberate reshaping of facts to comport to a lie that the Democrats want to tell you. And they're still running with it again. The truth is out there. It's been debunked 7 ways to Sunday. But I think, what do you think, Ron? I think Adam Schiff is so complacent in the fact that his base, that 25% you talked about, is so stupid and so hooked in to anything and everything these people say, they're not going to go out actually seeking the truth. They're just going to, whatever lies they get shoveled, that's what they're going to eat, right?
That is exactly right, and it's working and it's not working. In other words, the official media is still doing its job as it always does, but it's not changing anything. It's not moving anything because that's not where people who actually care about issues are going for their news and information anymore, except ones who are going to vote for them no matter what.
Yeah, it's become so compartmentalized. You're not going to move that certain core base of people anywhere off one base or another. They're going to be stuck where they are, and they're playing. Basically, what this is Adam Schiff singing and preaching to the choir. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I just don't understand. One of the things I always like to say on X is, don't call the Democrats stupid. They're not stupid. These are really smart guys. They've got everything figured out. This is so obviously ineffective, and what are they thinking? Mm-hmm. Like, what am I? Because it really does look like they're doubling down and doubling down and doubling down on a strategy that has not worked, and where they're really, what is the leverage they think they have over the Republicans? They must think that if enough time passes, it'll go the way it always has, which is that eventually, just by virtue of the amount of time that passes, the Republicans get blamed. But I don't. I don't think that's I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, let me ask you something though. I mean, why do you think it's? What's your take on why? I think this is this is a consensus view. There's a very why is it not happening? Why is it that automatic blame the Republicans game is not working? Even you and I can understand that Republicans aren't demanding anything. They're just saying, let's just do a neutral, generic continuing resolution. Whatever we have now, we just keep funding.
Yeah.
Is the public really following that? Is that really true? Is that really what it is?
I don't know if it's so much of the Republicans are doing it right versus a reaction to the hyperbolic nature of the Democrats on the other side. I think that's a big part of it. I look back at last year in 2024 and I say, okay, nearly 80 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. This is after he had a historic election in 2016, after he hit records in 2020, even though he wasn't successful in being installed as reelected as president, but he still managed to pull a big record number of votes for somebody who was running for re-election. Nobody had come close to that number of votes, not even Barack Obama in 2012. And somehow the guy still managed to lose. Okay, that aside. Now we had 77.5, 78 million, whatever it was, votes for Donald Trump in 2024. That tells me, even after all of the stuff that the media and people like Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and a lot of these other con artists out there in Washington, D.C., put him through for years, telling all the lies about him, people still looked at it. And not just hardcore, die-hard, gonna vote Republican every time type people. Clearly, a lot of the just regular average Joes out there, many of whom who not only do they vote maybe once every 4 years in a presidential cycle, but maybe sometimes not even that much, showed up to the polls and still voted for this guy. It suggests to me pretty strongly that the delivery of information and the consumption of information has radically altered in the last 10 years. And I think we all know why. We're looking at it on the screen right here. X is a big example of this. The speed at which things come out and then get debunked and people research. There are people that are more attentive because we don't have, and this is something that Democrats and especially the legacy news media absolutely abhor. And that is the fact that they're no longer the preeminent gatekeepers of information out there. 20 years ago, you had to go to Dan Rather or Ted Koppel or who am I thinking of on NBC? Who was on NBC? Why I just blanked out on his name. Who talked like this?
Jennings or
no? Peter Jennings was ABC. He talked like this. I can't.
Yeah. How can we forget these guys? Tom Brokaw.
Tom Brokaw. Thank you. Tom Brokaw. These guys out there. I mean, they were the gatekeepers, right? That's done. And remember, back in the days when they were gatekeepers, it was still a pretty well-known fact that these newsrooms, even as gatekeepers of information, were still financial loss leaders for the studios and the Hollywood entities that owned them. Just like late-night TV is now. Whether it's Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, or Jimmy Fallon, it doesn't matter. NBC, ABC, CBS, they're all losing money on late-night TV. The same way they were losing money on the newsrooms for a long time and have still been. Why do you think, we talked about this on the main channel on Valliant Renegade, why do you think that places like Warner Brothers under David Zaslav and now just recently Comcast, NBC Universal under Brian Roberts. They had their earnings call this morning. I was up at 7 a.m. for a Comcast earnings call this morning. And here we are at 7 p.m. We started this show in my time zone. And one of the things that was talked about was the recent spinoff taking MSNBC and a lot of their linear cable assets, USA television on cable and all that kind of stuff included, that was shot out of a cannon recently. NBC, Brian Roberts and the boys and girls up there said, it's gone. New company called Versant, and it's now spun off into that. They divested from it and spun it out. Warner Brothers did the same thing. They're about to do the same thing. David Zaslav, but right now they're in a bidding war, right? Paramount wants to come in with the Ellisons. You have Brian and the boys over there at Universal. They got a question this morning about it, and they had to dance around it. And rumors about Netflix and all this. But David Zaslav is like, look, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have film studios and IPs and everything over here. And then all of the cable assets, the linear broadcast channels, are going to be in another pie. We want them off the books. And one of the big problems with those is like MSNBC or CNN when it comes to Warner Brothers. And again, they're not the gatekeepers anymore. If people were watching them and still consuming in mass quantities information from these entities like they were 20, 30 years ago and buying into it, then by God, I put it to you right now, there ain't no way in hell that Donald Trump gets nearly 80 million votes last year.
Absolutely.
They're not. They've checked out. They've totally checked out of this. And again, Universal, Comcast, and Warner Brothers are telling you this straight up if you read between the lines by saying, we don't want these assets in our main portfolio anymore. We're dumping them. We're shooting them out of a cannon into a spinoff, right? Now, they're not getting rid of NBC, the main over-the-air broadcast channel. I just want to be clear about that. That's different. Right, but that also is because that comes with an FCC license that also has direct attachment to very lucrative assets, just like it's CBS and Warner Brothers when it comes to live sports. It ain't the newsrooms making them the money. It's the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, hockey, if you don't live in Louisiana and Texas, of course, stuff like that. So, again, these people out there, this is where the Hollywood entertainment industry stuff that we talk a lot about crosses into the politics side because it really does all go together. And this is a big part of it, I think. So, but I think that probably answers the question. And I think that's where it is for me, is that I think people are now consuming news in a totally different way, and the people that own these traditional news organizations know it.
And yet, and this goes back to a conversation I had with Pro and the gang earlier today, just as Wall Street keeps holding and buying Disney, the conglomerates that own these news outfits, other than CBS, keep not only the news but also the late night programming. They can lose money, but as a matter of prestige and social credit for the executives and owners, will keep throwing money at these programs and the so-called talent. I mean, look at they're still paying Rachel Maddow and Jon Stewart and all these clowns. They don't make them money, but they recognize, just as they. I mean, I guess to some sense they're thinking, hell, Elon Musk bought X and completely outfoxed us. He completely blew open the monopoly on news and information. Well, we still have these legacy channels. And we'd be crazy to give them up. How and they're insulated from stockholders because they own so many properties, like, for example, Disney, right? As we always talk about on the on the Disney shows, the entertainment piece of it is a small piece of the puzzle there. They can really keep losing money there for a while until anyone on Wall Street's going to notice.
Yeah. You know what? You mentioned something there. I want to take this because I've never actually done this even on the main channel, but you made me think of this when you said it.
I try to make people think.
I think it was great. I think people are going to love this. Watch this, especially my regular audience. We've never done this on the main channel. I'm about to blow your mind. You mentioned the Walt Disney Company specifically. And, of course, ABC, pretty left-wing. Disney Company itself, very left-wing. We've seen what they've done with their general entertainment and children's content in recent years. Lots of LGBTQ stuff in there to get your kids. You mentioned that these Wall Street companies keep buying things like Disney. They're holding things like Disney in portfolios, in trust for the actual investors out there, the regular average Joes, people like you and me that have IRAs, 401ks, savings, stuff like this. You're right. But here's the kicker, Ron. The vast majority of those holdings that you're talking about for companies like Disney, specifically that you mentioned, at places even like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, American Funds, Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, we can go on and on and on, all these. You know what the biggest assets in terms of trusts for those companies are, the biggest mutual funds or ETFs? They're just simple S&P 500 index funds. They're passive funds. They're passively managed, meaning that Disney itself being in the Fortune 500, ergo in the S&P 500, when people drop their Friday paycheck 3% contribution into their 401k, and they've got that Vanguard S&P 500 fund in there, by necessity, Vanguard has to go buy another share of Disney for them or something like that, right? That's where most of the money is.
But you're saying it's getting recycled.
Yeah.
Although somewhat diluted because they're buying index funds, they're not buying, the issue, that actual security itself. But ultimately,
it's being picked up out of default necessity.
Yeah.
Because Disney's in the S&P. When you go buy an S&P 500 ETF or index fund,
right?
Disney, Apple, Nvidia, you're getting everything in the S&P.
So what does this do to the efficient market hypothesis? Not any favors.
No, because the S&P 500 is effectively based on market cap, right? And Disney's still a $200 billion company. It's not as big as Nvidia, which, by the way, just yesterday crossed over $5 trillion in market cap.
$5 trillion.
$5 trillion. Yeah. Here's my point, Ron. If you actually go to not passively managed funds out there, like if you were going to go give me the highest, we call it in the industry seeking alpha. Alpha is something that is what alpha is for us in this world. It's the overperformance, right? So if the S&P gives you 10%, I'm looking for alpha, meaning I want to find a return that's greater than the S&P 500, right? I want to get an alpha of 20%. So if the S&P did 10%, I want to find something that did 12, right? Here's the thing. Guess where you're not going to find Disney very often at all? Is in the actively managed funds. The ones where we're not trading on a passive index where we just have to match the Dow Jones or we have to match the S&P 500 because it's a default investment. We're just tracking an index. When you actually go out and you buy an actively managed mutual fund, guess what? You're probably not going to find Disney in very many, if any at all, unless you buy something specific for entertainment sector or maybe consumer discretionary or something like that. But if you go hey, we're setting up a UIT, a unit investment trust. We're going to have a 15-month run on this, and we're going to pick some of the best stocks that we think are going to perform the best over the next year based on a certain investment criteria. First Trust is a company, and again, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm using this as an example. This is just a company I happen to be very familiar with. I used First Trust quite frequently in my practice, okay? This is their, and they have right now, I don't know, all these. This is all their UITs. You can go through these. I'm just going to pick American Agenda 33, Series 33, right? American Agenda. Let's see. Sterling, Comfort, Artista, EMCOR, Broadcom, Mastech, NVIDIA, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, GE, Wells Fargo. No, Fox. Fox is in here. Fox Corporation is in here. Oh, there's no Disney. Oh, there's no Disney. I wonder why. See, if Wall Street, if everybody was really so hot on a company like Disney, you would see Disney pop up in these things left and right all over the place. Okay? Ain't there. Okay? Now, there's a lot of other ones we could pick on when we say they're not there either. But I could go down the list in a lot of these. And my point is with this, when it comes to funds that are being actively managed and people picking these, you'd be surprised at what companies you don't see in some of these. And again, it's the people want to talk about how the media is controlled and what impacts people and how they consume news and where they're getting things. Let me tell you what, if everybody was chewing up everything that ABC was spitting out and Disney and everything else and if everybody was chewing it up and Disney was the zeitgeist for where news was going, and we could say the same thing about Comcast, NBC, and we could say the same thing about Paramount and all this, guess what? You would probably see more of these CFAs, these chartered financial analysts, the guys that get paid $500,000 plus a year to manage mutual funds. Many of them, like the senior guys that have been around a while, we're talking millions and millions a year they're making to manage some of these bigger funds. You would see them pick these stocks.
Was the base, folks. He was talking about the base.
The base, yeah.
They make their money in December.
Yeah, it's this is my point. They're not there. So when you talk about these companies, you say like, oh, well, BlackRock does this and Vanguard does that. They do it by virtue of the fact that they have, frankly, the largest S&P 500 funds in America. They're just the most commonly used ones. Vanguard especially, BlackRock especially. The bulk of their power when it comes to controlling, the voting prowess of a Disney or others out there is through those index funds because they have your proxy. As a mutual fund investor with their company, they have your voting proxy over all those 500 companies. So anyway, I never really had that conversation like that on the main channel, but you led me into it. I was like, oh, I got to take this opportunity. This is fun. So, but
I opened the door.
You opened the door.
No, it is a great point. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah. But again, it ties back into the conversation we were having earlier about, how people consume news, how people form their opinions. It's moving. It's changing. I'll put it this way. Ron, chat, does anybody have a doubt in their mind that if Elon Musk in 2026 suddenly decides, you know what, I think we've done enough here, and I'm ready to go ahead and relist X as a publicly traded company again, what do you think would happen to that IPO? It'd probably go through the roof. I mean, because again, people can see the numbers. America is there. That's where they're consuming a lot of information. And this is why people like Chuck Schumer and Adam Schiff don't have, in my opinion, the level of control that they once did in terms of manipulating the conversation, with the American public, right? That's a big part of it. Social media dominates, right?
And part of it is this, what the conversation we're having now, as well as podcasts, traditional podcasts. I mean, because you don't syndicate this as a podcast. God knows why. Why we don't. But
probably should.
There are so many people being influenced by Joe Rogan, who I think, frankly, is the flavor of the month of last year. I mean, I don't think he's pressing anyone anymore, but it's just an entire unregulated form of conversations.
Yeah,
and so many people listen to podcasts. There is so much. I agree. I mean, I agree with you. And that's, by the way, why there's going to be there are going to be major political changes that the Democrats are powerless to do anything about. But do they have to make it so much worse? And the answer is they do. Mm-hmm. They do have to make it so much worse because they cannot stop themselves. Remember that they're holding their breath and turning blue. Mm-hmm. Over what? Over health care for illegal aliens.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a rational political position. That's not a position that is favored by the majority of Democrat voters. Mm-hmm. But their party is controlled by its most extreme elements and always will be. And regardless of what you think of the Republicans and MAGA, it is a far more moderate and balanced party. The activists and donors in the Democrat Party have taken it over. And part of what they tried to do after McGovern. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, after McGovern.
George McGovern, man, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Well, McGovern folks ran against Nixon in 72. Yep. And Nixon, who was not a popular person as such, or charismatic, but McGovern was just absolutely not up for it. The Democrats decided we're going to fix things so that the radicals don't control our party anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's why you have all these rigged nominations. Mm-hmm. Because
Democrat primary.
Right. Whatever happens in the primaries themselves are rigged. But the Democrats really always reserved for themselves systemically, I guess, the capacity for the bosses who run the party to veto the popular will. That's how you get.
We saw it 3 times. They canceled Bernie Sanders out.
Exactly.
And then the issue with Joe Biden and Kamala. Yeah, exactly.
The make-believe challenges. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
That came loose. They thought they were actually maintaining stability that way. Mm-hmm. And I really don't have a theory for this. But instead of avoiding George McGovern's, they ended up with much worse than George McGovern. Mm-hmm. All up and down the ticket. And I guess the reason for that is, I don't know, maybe it's money, maybe it's demographic change. But part of it, I think, is inherent in the ideology of the left, which is that there are never any enemies to the left and there are never any limiting principles mm-hmm. to their ideological demands.
Yeah.
So you've got a guy like this scumbag in San Francisco who made passing on AIDS legal and child molesting legal. There's never any basis for saying no to any of these people. Oh, I suppose I think I do have a reason for an understanding for that. It's because it's a coalition party. That's why. Because it is truly a coalition party in a way that the Republicans, of course, it's a coalition to some extent, but the Democrats are. How many grievances can we fit in this bag? And having said that, I see Doc Hollywood just dropped.
I was just about to say.
There's nothing I have to say as important as this.
Yeah. Doc Hollywood for $100. What? Dropping it on Ron Coleman's channel, as a matter of fact. Just saying howdy.
Listen, I'm a big earner.
That would almost cover a 2-minute retainer. So thank you, Doc Hollywood. No, it's a perfect segue because I was about to get to some super chats here. Doc, let's see. Well, considering we're here and we're doing this, God, there's so. You know what? Let's do something a little lawyerly.
Is it possible the 2 youths?
To what? What was that word?
What word?
To what?
What?
Did you say utes?
Yeah, 2 youths.
What is a ute?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
Thank you, Doc Hollywood. We appreciate you. I love that. I hadn't played that one in a while.
That is great.
I do love that one.
That is
Oh
great.
man,
I'm not a big fan of the baby the baby videos, but that one, and they even got the hair.
yeah. There's a few of those baby memes that really cracked me up. It was like a big fad for 2 weeks, but there were a couple in there that I thought were really, really good. Archer Merchant for 5 says there's a couple of rhinos, I believe. They're called Full at Work, trying to stop tariffs that are seemingly objectively working incredibly well. I mean, yeah, the rhinos have been an issue for a while, granted. But look, here's the thing. They have enough power right now to get past all that, get things passed. Where it's getting hung up is in the Senate, where you need 60 votes.
And the guy, Rand Paul, that's not a
Rand,
rhino.
no.
That's something else altogether.
No, that's just one of the... I mean, I looked at the list of the people who voted against the last one, the 13th vote, and... Here's the thing. I mean, you had, what was it? The other Republicans you expected, it was Lisa Murkowski. The other 2 or 3, I can't remember their names right now. And then Rand Paul was in there. I was like, yeah, dude. And there were a couple of Democrats who came over. But then you had those 4 Republicans, including Rand Paul, that peed in the cornflakes. So... Archer Merchant again for 5. Also, Gavin Newsom wants to do a one-time billionaire tax for 26 to fund a lot of the things that are being defunded, but California's already being hit hard. Let me tell you, there's no such thing as there's 2 things that don't happen. Number 1, a one-time tax has never existed in the history of this country. Not one goddamn time, okay? Look, I still go back, the estate tax in this country, something that I deal with every day in my professional practice for 20 years plus. We go back to the origins of the estate tax, just like the income tax, when that god-awful thing, literally, it was one of the only times, I think, in history that we have passed in this country a constitutional amendment that directly struck language out of the original document, saying no per capita tax, right? The estate tax was originally sold, don't worry, we're only going to tax like the 400 richest people in America, and it's only going to be 1%. It impacts a lot more than 400 people now. It's in the millions and the millions and the millions. And guess who are the people that got bowled over the hardest in the last several decades? Everybody complains about the fact that we don't have middle American farmers anymore. Everybody complains about the fact that we have all these big corporate farms. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Is because the estate tax murdered the American farmer, because most of the wealth that they had at the time of death was in land. But you know what? The IRS wants their money, and they want it in about 9 months. And when your estate tax rate is 45% over the exemption, and you ain't got cash, guess what you have to do? You got to fire sale your farm to a corporate bidder that can come in there and take it out and give you cash so you can pay the IRS. Okay? There's no such thing as a one-time tax, first of all. And let's see how Gavin tries to pull that off. My first challenge, I think, would be to see if and again, I know Congress has done this, and I'm not a fan of it, but another interesting legal challenge, perhaps. Maybe, Ron, you can give your thoughts on this. A billionaire tax for 2026. Well, we're pretty much at the end of 25. When are you going to pass this? If you pass it in the middle of 26, theoretically, you couldn't do it in 26 because we have this thing called no ex post facto law. You can't go passing a law and then make it retroactive back to an earlier date, right? I know that applies to the federal government. That's in the Constitution. But, Ron, I imagine that would apply to the states, too.
I'm not really sure. Tax law and the constitutional aspects of tax law are very confusing.
They are gray. I'll give it that. At least when it comes to what the states can or can't do. But the income tax was one of those things that was never, it was specifically forbidden by the Constitution. Cannot do a personal income tax. And then somehow we managed to convince the country around 1912 to 1915 to do
that's
two
right
really
in the middle
stupid
of
things.
That's the middle of the progressive era, and government is starting to really grow. Listen.
Yeah.
You don't win World War I and World War II without an income tax, and yet you did have to win it,
Well, you did. Well, here's the thing: they passed that before World War I. So
but I'm 100%. But
the other one I think was just as damning, and that was the pardon me, it passed around the same time, within a year of it, was moving to have the United States Senate, the senators elected by popular vote, as opposed to being representatives of the state themselves. Like the Senate was, most people don't, 100 years ago, people were voting for their U.S. senator for the first time in American history.
And you wouldn't have the likes of a Hillary Clinton show up and announce to the people in Albany, guess what? I'm in New York now, and I'm going to be your senator.
Right.
That wasn't going to happen.
Nope. Sean's out there. He says for $2, Oregon isn't covering SNAP states run it feds pay. No, yeah. Most states I don't think will be. Most states they're not going to have the financial wherewithal to make up that shortfall. Absolutely not. That's why we were making the comment earlier about North Dakota, because I suspect that it's, for example, even relative to the difference in the sizes of population here, that the scale, the percentage of the population in North Dakota that is probably on federal assistance like that is much smaller than the adjusted scale that would be in a place like Oregon. Because we've all seen Chaz and Chop in Portland. We know who those people are, okay? All those guys are probably on SNAP. Archer Merchant says, that's the one we just got. Sorry. Archer says for $2, hit hard by his questionable programs, I meant. Oh, talking about Newsom. Yeah. Gotcha. C&E Reese for $5. We have oil money. Grand Forks, Fargo, and Bismarck are the worst. Dickinson and Minot are low, but for the population, it is high. Well, okay, so you've got some pockets in there. But I suspect, and again, the oil money part, because let me tell you what, when the fracking industry 10, 15 years ago moved into North Dakota, that was a freaking money machine up there. And I'm talking a money machine for the state as well, for the oil and gas tax revenue sharing that they had up there from the feds. Because I remember it was around the same time, it was like 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when we even had, oh God, I hated her, Mary Landrieu down here in the state of Louisiana, who was a United States Senator from Louisiana, was in Washington along with, some other folks. This was right around the time John Kennedy was coming in, because he took Mary Landrieu's seat. And arguing that, hey, Texas or North Dakota and a lot of these other states, the share of revenue they're getting for oil and gas is way more than what we're getting in Louisiana. And we're the second biggest producer behind Texas. So that was that whole argument back then. So that's probably part of the reason why y'all can afford to dole that out. John Thomas for 10 says, before Obama destroyed it all, I was an independent contractor and I had an old high deductible health plan with a $5,000 deductible. That's what I have. And dental for $100 a month. After the ACA, it went to $250. Yes, after the ACA, mine for my family went from about $600 a month to $2,300 a month for the same thing. Yep.
Oh, look. I mean, it's a disaster.
It was a wreck. And it was, again...
And it was not an accident. It was intended... The idea was, if we wouldn't outright vote for socialized medicine, for nationalized medicine, they would destroy the third-party payer system.
Yep.
With a private third-party payer system and replace it with a government third-party payer system. And that's where we're going.
Yep, it is. Bad news, Badger for 50 Danish krona. Ron is old enough, so when he saw Jurassic Park in the movie theater, he said that it's not their real color. because the dinosaurs didn't look like that when you saw them.
It's true.
Packing Protons says Elmer Fudd made a filibuster appearance. I get filibuster, Elmer Fudd. Wait, which one is Elmer Fudd in the Senate? Is it? Well, I guess Adam Schiff kind of looks like Elmer Fudd. Put a hat on him. Black Kane for 2. Ron was born right after the Jordan River crossing.
I'll never forget when Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. Good times.
Good times, man. Sean for 5 says Adam Schiff comes out of the San Fernando Valley thinking he aligns with Jimmy Kimmel, Bob Iger, those who say, quote, real communism has never been tried, Valley thinking. Oh, no question. Oh, no question. None at all. Black Cane for 5, I get my news from a homosexual man named Jeremy that he's so inbred, he makes Charles II of Spain look normal. Wow. Oh, man. Well, okay, he is from Alabama.
But that's royal blood right there, okay? That's royal blood.
Packing for 5, 47 tomorrow. Well, happy birthday, Packing Protons. Are you sure Ron doesn't know any single female lawyers? Futurama reference. I don't have to leave that one to him.
Well, if I don't get the reference, I'm not sure how to riff on the joke.
Futurama is one of the Matt Groening shows. He's the guy that does The Simpsons. Okay.
I think I get. I only get it because Protons explained it to me.
Oh, gotcha.
In the chat, but I still don't really get the the gestalt of the character and the reference. So I don't. I mean, obviously, I know single female lawyers. I mean, obviously, I know all kinds of lawyers. I know hundreds of lawyers. None of them return my calls, though.
There was the punchline. Packing for 5, can Trump do something to take down the woke power of BlackRock and Vanguard by taking away the voting? No. That's something the voting proxy. That's something that as an investor that's what you sign up for. When you buy a mutual fund, that's what a mutual fund is, right? You're letting an investment manager manage the investment, including your vote, right, in trust as a shareholder of a multitude of companies within the fund. That power would have to be undone legislatively. The power of proxy voting goes all the way back, I think, to the Investment Act of 1940 in Congress, which regulated and created mutual funds. So all of that, I mean, you're talking about something.
Legislative. That's legislative.
Yeah, that's something that's 85 years embedded in legislation. So no.
Also, when I saw the question, I was a little bit confused. I mean, how do you remove proxy voting? Do people have to actually shareholders in funds? I mean, how would you vote your shares without a proxy?
Well, you would basically, like right now, like if I or my mother or anybody else, hey, I own individual shares in like Netflix or Nvidia or something like this. When they have their annual shareholder meeting, and they have votes coming up, I get an email or I get something in the post. I get something in the mail that says, hey, you need to log in, scan the QR code, go in and register and vote your shares, right? So there are mutual fund companies, and I think Vanguard's one of them. BlackRock has been doing it.
No, I mean, they've
been rolling
You
out.
get mails, you get emails, you get proxy notices and stuff like that. But and like I have life insurance from Northwestern.
Northwestern, yeah.
Life. Mm-hmm. And they're always telling us about, but as a practical matter, how would that help things? I think that would make it worse.
Yeah, because most people don't vote their shares.
Right.
When they own individual shares, they just, what is this? I don't know what to do with this, and it goes in the trash. And people don't vote their shares. I can tell you right now. people complain about things that happen at Disney. Oh, BlackRock and Vanguard and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but the average Disney mom and pop individual shareholder, most of them don't turn their damn votes in, and that's why, so it's just like voting for president. If you want your voice to be heard, then you got to get up off your ass and go vote. It's the same thing here. So anyway, Doc Hollywood, again, thank you for the $100 super chat. Now somebody send me one. I feel left out. So somebody out there.
Left out one night. One night I get a nice.
I'm so depressed. All right, let's get back into this real quick. A couple of these things I wanted to show. And it's just a few other flavors here of the Democrat Party right now. Yasmin Ansari, I don't even know where she's from. I was grabbing these posts. Arizona's 3rd Congressional District. Okay, this is probably, I'm betting this is like around Maricopa County. This Saturday, 900,000 Arizonans, including over 367,000 kids, will lose food assistance because of Donald Trump's cruelty. Republicans are choosing to let children, seniors, and people with disabilities go hungry. I'll go ahead and play the clip and just let her tell you herself.
It's day 29 of the Trump and Republican government shutdown. Donald Trump's in Asia, Republicans are still on vacation, and people are struggling.
I want to say this real quick. This has been bugging me. I've been wanting to say this on a live stream because I'm a tech nerd. Y'all know I'm a camera nerd. I cannot stand at all this new trend, and this has been going on for like a year at least now, where people are doing these little video clips. They have these Rode or DJI lapel mics. They're supposed to clip on, but they're holding them with their thumb and their forefinger. These little bitty microphones right here. It's like, dude, get a real microphone and hold it like a handheld, or clip the damn thing to your lapel. This drives me nuts.
Hear me out. I want to suggest, the cynic in me wants to suggest, they're purposely doing this really amateurly.
Yes. Oh, it's by design.
So it looks like, grassroots. I'm just a member of Congress, and just ask one of my aides to just take I just have to.
It's not just Congress people doing it, just to be clear, but this is the trendy in thing now for people doing influencer style videos. It absolutely drives me bonkers. Anyway,
Saturday, November 1st, millions of people across this country are going to lose access to SNAP and food assistance, which is going to be a disaster. That includes 1 million people.
Here's the stupid part. She's holding this. She's got the windsock on it, and it still sounds like she's in a gas station bathroom. This is how bad. It's like, I don't even think this came through the mic. I think somebody just handed her this as a prop. And they were still recording it like against a concrete wall outside of the Capitol with an iPhone, and the mic wasn't working because, this sounds like trash.
In Arizona, including 367,000 children who won't be able to afford food and have food on the table. This is all because Donald Trump and Republicans are using food assistance as leverage. They want to be cruel. They are intentionally trying to withhold these funds and actively withhold these funds in order to make people suffer. And Democrats aren't standing for it. I'm so grateful there is a lawsuit right now that Democratic attorney generals.
They actually are standing for it. Democrats are literally standing up and saying, no, we're not voting.
But good news though. There's a lawsuit, and those have gone so well.
Yeah, they've been great. It's like the Democrats think we're just going to go find that one black-robed inferior court tyrant that's going to throw another injunction on Trump or some damn thing.
Across the country have moved forward to force the Trump administration to release the $6 million in contingency funds that are available for food assistance. In Congress, we have introduced legislation to fight back against this, and we will continue to do everything we can because this fight.
to do everything you can except vote to end the shutdown, you stupid bitch. It's like, this is the point. It's like, this is nuts. But like, people are falling for it. There's that 25% of that core base that's like, Trump is Satan. I don't think this is moving the middle. I don't think it's moving the middle, Ron.
No, I mean, it really, it's just so stale and so packaged. Compare this to the social media game of the Trump in the White House. The Homeland Security trolling, the Trump. I mean, just these guys know how to use social media.
Yeah.
And these folks are, hello, fellow young people.
Yeah. It's that Steve Buscemi clip. You know, hello, fellow high schoolers or whatever. It's like, clearly he's this 55-year-old dude trying to blend in a high school. It's just, but this is the thing. All these videos, all these posts from Democrats this week are just like this. It's just bonkers. And we're trying to do everything. We're trying to file a lawsuit. We're trying to pass legislation. Dude, the legislation has already been passed. It's in the Senate. Why don't you tell your colleagues in the other chamber down the hall, because she's in the House, to go ahead and vote to end the filibuster?
Oh, stop it already. Stop it already, Valliant. I mean, you're actually you're having a debate on the facts. We have to get meta on this. Okay, no one's engaging. No one's.
You use that word.
Actually, what I find much more interesting actually is that even on CNN, even on MSNBC, some of the interviewers and reporters are starting to say, "Couldn't you just vote? Couldn't you just?" I mean, like those people are even starting to.
The Washington Post. The Washington Post put this on the Democrats' doorstep. In an article today. I had it, but just to kind of show folks, but I'll get to that.
It's not just about healthcare. We know that 24 million Americans will see their health insurance premiums go up. We know that 50,000 people will die.
Again, the premiums aren't going to go up. Your premiums have nothing to do with whether or not the government opens tomorrow. It has nothing to do with it. The premiums are going to be the same on November 1st as they were yesterday. The premiums on January 1st are going to be maybe a little bit higher, maybe 5%. We see those premiums. And look, 20 plus years as a health insurance producer, as an insurance agent. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I write group healthcare plans for Blue Cross as part of my job. I'm telling you, the premiums ain't changing. All that's changing is the welfare check won't be there to pay 90% of the cost of the premium.
In this country, if Republicans continue to refuse to negotiate to fix the healthcare crisis, and now we have a food crisis on our hands, and we will do everything in our power to protect people in this country and make sure people can.
You're fibbing.
Yeah.
You're fibbing.
Yeah, there's no way that microphone is active. There's just not. Here we go. Here's another look. When I tell you it's a trend, Representative Zoe Lofgren. I don't know where the hell she's from. I just saw this and I'm like, oh, good Lord. California's 18th congressional district, San Benito, Santa Clara, Monterey, and Santa Cruz. Here we go. Another old white cat lady. Guess what? She's got a lapel mic that she's holding in her fingers. I want all this to die. I can't take it.
Hey, Zoe Lofgren.
Is she in the same spot? Wait a minute. Is this a different location from the last one we saw?
I don't know. It caught it there. I mean,
the garbage pail is a real nice touch. Very. So look how it's like so urban and realistic. But wasn't the other that woman with the black eye? The last one, wasn't she also in front of that white stone wall?
Wait, did she have a black eye? Oh God, she does. She does have a little bit. Yeah. They're all at the Capitol building. Yeah.
That's right.
But she's got a different microphone. At first, I thought there was just a crew out there having them come by one at a time to record their 30-second videos. and just loop it. But I'm like, no, she's got a windsock on this microphone. The next chick here, Zoe Lofgren, she's got
she hasn't been a chick since the Kennedy administration, okay?
I don't know if she's been a chick since the Woodrow Wilson administration, man.
Hey, Zoe Lofgren here. I'm back in D.C.
Oh,
Zoe, not Zoe. I'm sorry. Every other time I've seen ZOE, every girl, that has been Zoe. But she is cool, don't you know, because she's on TikTok and she's still 20. It's just Zoe.
So be it.
Hey, Zoe Lofgren here. I'm back in D.C. Waiting for the Republicans to come back to work. This is the 29th
That's a great one.
Just take it in. You know what? Wait, that deserves something.
Trash?
Wait, no, not that one. But that one could work too.
I've got a lot of friends who are Democrats, and they haven't asked me for advice, but if I did, I'd tell them, look, you just got to try harder not to suck.
That's my guy. That's my guy, John Kennedy. I love John Kennedy.
He is terrific.
And let me tell you what, that's him in real life. That dude's a trip. I haven't seen him in several years, but I remember before he was a U.S. senator. He doesn't live that far from me. And dude is just an absolute trip. He really is like that. He loves doing that shtick. All right, let's get back to this one.
Of this unnecessary government shutdown. And as I'm here in D.C., I haven't been able to find any Republicans here. Not only the House of Representatives, which has been out of session for over a month. The president's also missing in action. They need to get their act together. They need to come back to work.
Or else what?
Who knows where? People are missing their paychecks. They're getting notices that their health care premiums are going through the roof. It's time for the Republicans. Come back to work. Let's get this job done.
Boy, she is just a pepper right there. That one. Oh boy, look who it is. It's our favorite assault and battery on a Leo kind of guy. Alex Padilla.
I sued him once.
Did you really?
Yeah, that was the DC Drano case.
Oh God, I forgot. Oh jeez, I forgot all about that one.
On November 1st.
Wait, go ahead. Sorry.
No, so he tried to drop something on Harmy Dillon in the Senate. And she came back to him and said, no, I sued you over that.
On November 1st, 40 million Americans can lose access to food stamps or nutrition assistance, and it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, Donald Trump is intentionally withholding funds that could feed 40 million Americans.
Notice he doesn't get a lapel mic. He has to sit there in an echo chamber with an iPhone recording him. So again, so he can look like he's just a regular TikToker, right? That's the whole point of this.
Including 5.5 million people in California alone. And why do I say that? Because there's actually a SNAP emergency fund account established exactly for moments like this. So if he really wanted to, Donald Trump could access these emergency funds and feed Americans exactly how we designed the program. Let me remind you that in the first Trump administration, Donald Trump exercised these funds during the last government shutdown. So the bottom line is Donald Trump is...
And where did that get him? This is the point. This is what the Democrats don't want to tell you. The Democrats have the power to end it. Remember, this has not even reached the Oval Office yet. It can't because of people like this. Alex Padilla, senator from California, and his buddy Chuck Schumer. I mean, not Chuck. Well, Chuck Schumer, yes, but Adam Schiff, the other California senator,
let me ask you what I think is a really interesting question here. Mm-hmm. I think the answer to your question, and the thing about Valliant folks, is that he'll ask sometimes naive-sounding questions so that the panelists can sound smart. That's why he's such a good facilitator and why everyone wants to be on this program. Valliant knows that the answer to his question is because, well, there are two. One is that Trump always blamed Trump, and the other one is Trump is the head of the Republicans. He is presumably, if all these brilliant social media postings were to make Trump just crumble, he would pick up the phone and tell the leader of the Senate, the Republican Senate, guys, we got to fold on this. This is just too damaging to us. Now, here's my question. If Trump were to do that, contrary to everything we know about him, everything we know about politics, everything we know about our lives, about the path of the planets, the stars, everything, would they listen? Would the Senate listen to Trump if he said we're just taking on too much water? Would they do what he said? What do you think, Valliant?
Be interesting to see.
So, I think part of the answer is, no, because I think that the Republicans, now that you have scumbags like John McCain out of the Senate, and people like Romney, people who are really bad Republicans. You still have there's little guys. I mean, whether they're rhinos or not, not really. People used to swear that Rubio was the biggest rhino, the worst guy in the world. I'm always be careful about that terminology.
Yeah.
Republicans have not been more on the beam, united, on message, in any time that I can remember, maybe ever.
No, I think you're right. And look, this is the point. Republicans are holding fast. And this is what the Democrats, guys like this, Alex Padilla, California, are not used to. They don't know how to deal with this. They have been so accustomed to conservatives over the years just folding up shop, tents and the house of cards and all of the above, and going home and saying, okay, we give in because the American people don't like us and we can't win because they own the media. This is why this will be Donald Trump's greatest legacy, in my opinion. It's not just going to be what he accomplishes in the Oval Office as president. It's going to be what he accomplished as Donald Trump, the man. And what I mean by that is he has almost single-handedly, completely flipped the script on the media, the narrative, how information and news is delivered and consumed by the general public. And that has undone people like this, that for decades and decades and decades, hell, all the way back into the Reagan era, for God's sake, where they could rely on all their buddies, the gatekeepers at the big three, ABC, CBS, NBC, back in those days, to carry the water for the Democrats. That's gone. It's gone. Trump basically broke all of that, and he came around at exactly the right time to where Donald Trump and the technology coincided, okay, with their evolution, and everything just went together.
But also, the other aspect of the perfect storm of this is, as many people have said, notwithstanding the losses and the opportunity the Democrats had to dig deeper into, burrow more deeply into the deep state during the Biden years.
Yep.
We needed Trump to be president now.
Yes.
Now. Not 2020. Now.
Yep, I agree. And, one of the comments that I think was so poignant and 100% agreed, 1,000% agreed, our buddy over there, D-Day Cobra, Jeremy, made the comment many times, and he was totally right. It's before we did the Renegade Nation channel. And he said, look, if Trump had actually been reelected and put back in office in January of 2021, we would not get the Donald Trump we have today, because he would have carried over with a lot of the same people that basically stabbed him in the back in the first administration. And we would not be getting the level of robustness that we're getting now after those 4 years of Joe Biden, right? Just like back in 2012. It took a Barack Obama to get us a Donald Trump. And it took us 4 years of a Joe Biden to get us Donald Trump 2.0. And that's the bottom line. And that's what people need to remember. And you got guys like this out there that do not know what to do with themselves, because the Democrats no longer have the overwhelming majority power of manipulating the flow of information as they have for so long. That's done and gone. Now, to that end, and there's other ones out there. Hey, Crazy Maisie, one of our favorite ones out there from Hawaii. For the first time in the history of the U.S., the president is allowing SNAP funding to lapse. I knew Trump was cruel. There's that word, cruel. We've heard that from everybody. It's cruel, cruel, cruel. I wonder if that was on a memo. But letting tens of millions of Americans starve when you have the resources to feed.
In fact, they're lining up gigantic barges to put all the bodies on.
Yeah.
Of all those fat TikTokers who are going to starve.
Yeah.
They're starving like the Gazans are starving, okay?
That's it. We played that one the other night.
Oh, God, that woman.
What, Rose? Oh, wait. I don't want to spoil it. Have you not seen that one?
I might have seen it. I mean, they're all the same. She's such a freaking lunatic. I mean,
well, here's the thing. We played this last night on the ladies show, and I'll ask the same question that I asked the ladies. Some people were debating whether or not this video may have been created by AI, and the debate is still raging. Let me show you the video, Ron, and I want to give me your thoughts on this as well. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Rosa DeLario from Connecticut.
The contingency funding that we set aside for SNAP is not optional spending. My precious.
Now the question is that real or fake? We're still debating if that's AI. Sorry, I was like, I got to get him with this one.
I know. I'm thinking animatronics.
Oh, I couldn't resist. All right.
That's good. That's good.
Let's see. Let me get caught up, and then I want to play a few last video clips here. You're going to want to see these from a new X page here that we mentioned earlier. Tennessee tornado from 5. Either use Bob Barker Price is Right mic, or you use nothing. So I like the Bob Barker mic. That was a good mic. Packing protons for 5 regarding Elmer Fudd. They actually had a picture of him on the floor next to owls. Okay, I got to go back and find that one then. Packing also says for 5. Also, reporters, please stop holding the friggin' lapel mic with your hands. You look like a damn fool when you do it wrong.
You look like a damn fool.
Yeah, damn fool. Thank you, Packing Protons. Much appreciated. Okay, so I want to get to this because there are some there are some legitimately funny things that you laugh at. There's also some videos here that really, it makes you concerned because there's people out there that, as we mentioned earlier in the show, they're apparently planning to, go on out and just go ahead and start looting and rioting, and hey, we're not going to get our EBT money, we're not going to get our SNAP cards refilled, then hey, we're gonna do bad stuff, right? I want to go back in here. Now all of a sudden, my search page is not coming up. What I mean, look, Ron, are we really at the point now where this is? I mean, well, I guess we are. we've had Chaz, we've had Chop. I mean, some of these folks, they're going to ride on a bright and sunny day. I guess now that they want to do this, and this is some of them. Pasobic had posted this, but it's EBT of TikTok is the one, and I don't know why I'm having trouble pulling it up. I had it saved here. Let's see. I don't know why it's having trouble. Oh, is this it? Nope, that's not it. That's another parody account. Did their account go down? Oh, wait, there it is. That's the one I'm looking for. Here we go. Now up to 35,000 followers. Had about 25 last night. I think this has been one of their more famous ones. But, I mean, good Lord, it's everything you can imagine from libs of TikTok, but it's all the people right now complaining about the government shutdown and their SNAP benefits. Let me give you a flavor here.
She looks hungry. I do see it.
She does, and we're also hoping that Kermit the Frog is okay. That's I'll leave it there.
And next week, when millions of people are going to have to resort to possibly stealing in order to feed themselves and their families, and the government complains, because they will complain.
The government complains. The government doesn't complain, honey. The government arrests your ass.
Did it. Make sure you point your anger at the system and the people at the top, because they're
the Democrats. We agree.
The ones who took the food away from families.
Took the food, like they came in your house and stole your food. I don't think this pumpkin has missed a meal in a long time.
Yeah, but you should see when she goes into the food stove.
Yeah.
To steal, she moved like a ninja.
She's very light on her feet at that point.
Moves well for a big woman.
Look at the chat. I love the chat. Is this Meatloaf's sister? Oh, dude, that's wrong, man. Don't be busting on Meatloaf like that. Oh.
No, there is a real resemblance.
The poor people just want to
your
eat.
granddaughter.
They just want to survive like the rest of us. They just want to keep living like the rest of us. So when you see them stealing, because you will, because they're going to have to, make sure your anger isn't directed at the individual. This goes so much deeper. It's time to flip some fucking tables.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Flip some tables.
Yeah, flip the tables. Let's see. I haven't seen this one yet. This looks like the No Kings protest. The title is Woman Realizes No Kings Protesters Are the Same People Begging for Money and Food from the King. See, and they put some good, like, not all of these are people that are hard leftists talking about looting and rioting. It's also just some people posting on TikTok throwing down some facts and truth. Let's see if this is one of those. It looks like it may be.
You guys were just having a No Kings protest, and now you're begging the king for money and food. Don't laugh.
Oh, somebody that made some sense.
I didn't have trouble hearing her, even though the words were right in front of me. I could have just read them, I guess.
Here, let me play it one more time.
You guys were just having a No Kings protest, and now you're begging the king for money and food. Don't laugh.
That's just it. That's not
yeah,
funny.
yeah. She, you know what? She's got a point. She's got a point.
She seems pretty cool.
Unemployed woman that she brags that she's just going to complain until EBT comes back. A job, I ain't going to do it. Now, look, I'm going to tell you what. It is really hard, Ron, to tell these days which one of these folks making these videos are absolutely clowning and trolling and which ones are being serious. It is incredibly difficult to tell. The problem is, I believe most of these people are probably being serious. Every now and again, there may be a clown, but this one's got the nose ring and everything else. But
go work a job. Go get a job. Stop freeloading. Stop this. Stop that. No, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. Trust me. By December, my benefits will be back on. Best believe that. Until then, you guys are gonna hear me crying and talking my shit and complaining. A job ain't gonna do it. A motherfucking job ain't gonna do it.
yeah, that's probably the problem. I don't want a job. The job ain't going to do it. I need my free stuff. I'll go steal a whole turkey and ham if there's no EBT. Man suggests there will be large-scale riots if law enforcement tries to stop. Now, here's the thing. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is what has me concerned. Again, we've seen a lot of the same type of mentality folks that will go out and loot an Ulta beauty store, a makeup shop, a very high-end, expensive one. Believe me, I see how much money gets spent on my credit card by the girls in my house every month at places like Ulta. It ain't cheap. But when you have like the mass shoplifting, when you have the droves of the teenagers that run around through the Targets and everything else and go on like the mass raid looting things that in California you can't stop apparently, or at least not very often. Ulta is like, they're not going in there for food. They're literally going in there looting thousands of dollars worth of high-end makeup. And this isn't for survival. Here we go. Spoiler alert. Apparently, they're not using the makeup because they all still look like dogs. Anyway, but this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You got a lot of people out there that are now, Ron, they're posting on their own social media accounts their premeditated intent on Saturday, telling everybody where they're going and what felonies they're going to commit.
Yeah, but they know the judges that they're going to appear before, if they're actually ever arrested for anything, are going to let them walk. I mean, come on, that's not. I mean, it is interesting to see how some of these people are getting picked up by the feds in Portland are having really, really rude awakenings about the reality of actual enforcement of the law actually happening in their lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and this is kind of one of the ones that I was talking about, and I had reposted one the other day. I hadn't seen this one yet.
To all the police departments out there that is getting a heads up on the upcoming 2 days of November 1st, because people not gonna get their food stamps. I know your commanders told you guys to try to patrol in the store parking lots of the grocery stores to give these people some security at least.
Yeah.
But my thing is that your commanders are setting y'all up for failure. Really, they are.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Okay.
Listen, this is a guy who obviously brings extraordinary tactical understanding to the table. And it's really a kindness on his part to recommend to these law enforcement professionals and military people that they're being misled by their leadership. I mean, this is a guy who does strike me as being a real leader.
Yeah.
And a man
he's a community organizer, Ron. He's a community organizer.
Okay. And he's got it.
Yes.
As a civilian American. And what I can tell you guys, that your commanders are setting you up for failure. They will have you guys, probably at least 4 of y'all, 2 of y'all, maybe 1 of y'all, in the parking lot of a grocery store that could potentially get looted. But what they're setting you up for failure is you're going to have over 500.
500? That's 500.
800.
800.
Possibly 1,000 people bum rushing that grocery store. What is the 2 of y'all officers going to do when you got 1,000, 800, 500 people bum rushing the grocery store?
They could probably lock the doors behind you after you go in there and seal you in like a giant prison.
No, actually what they're going to do is start coughing violently. I'm not talking about the police. I'm talking about the 1,000. What is he saying? Bottle washing? What's the word that he's using?
Bum rushing, I think is what he said.
Oh, bum. Well,
yeah, bum rushing. Yeah.
I think he's a little bit naive about how law enforcement works.
Yeah, crowd control. Let me tell you what, you will have, you can have about 100 New Orleans and Louisiana State, New Orleans PDs, police, NOPD, and Louisiana State Troopers on Bourbon Street on Mardi Gras, where there is 100,000 people, and they control that crowd.
Of course.
Look, there are still law enforcement agencies to this day all over the United States that send their Leos into New Orleans and to Louisiana State Police to learn crowd control from the best. Because
really?
Yes, and it's been
because
going on
there's nothing
decades.
like Mardi Gras for crowd control lessons.
No, there's nothing like clearing it out. Like when Mardi Gras happens in New Orleans, and especially those final 5 days, basically Friday starts Saturday into Endymion, and then all the way through Fat Tuesday, where you've got Rex and Zulu and the big ones, and into that night. And they have to clear Bourbon Street with the New Orleans horse-mounted police. They just ride down Bourbon Street on horseback at midnight. Mardi Gras is over. It is now Lent. Clear the streets. We get police in here from Mississippi, from Alabama, from Texas. They all come in. We bring them in because we need extra bodies. But part of that is because the Louisiana's law enforcement agencies have trained a lot of them on ultimate. I remember like 20 years ago or 25 years ago, Philadelphia tried to do Mardi Gras or something like this. They had 4,000 people that showed up for Mardi Gras in Philadelphia. And go back and look this up if y'all think I'm kidding. It turned into a mass riot. It was a disaster. Law enforcement lost control with 4,000 people.
Philadelphia does not have a great track record.
No, it doesn't. But my point is,
problems.
The numbers were so pathetically small by comparison to New Orleans Mardi Gras that doesn't happen here because police and law enforcement have become such ridiculous experts at it over many, many decades of it. They know how to do it. So anyway, so this guy, tear gas, I guess, is that would be one thing. Like you said, Ron, they're going to start coughing. They're probably going to get some crowd control.
He was told to patrol and protect. See, it don't make no fucking sense. But I'm gonna give you guys the benefit of the doubt. Y'all gonna call for assistance, the riot team, SWAT teams, whatever you got. You gonna call everybody.
Yeah, and let me tell you what. 40 mics and rubber bullets hurt like shit, dude. They don't have to put lead in you. They can put those 40 mics in you, and they ain't gonna hurt. It's going to leave
Nothing's going to happen. Bruise. No one's going to get shot. It's all talk.
That's what I'm hoping.
They are fronting.
Yeah.
Fronting.
I think most places. I think we're going to have a few. We're going to have a few places, a few cities in this country where it's
flare-ups.
Yeah, a few flare-ups. But it's one of those things where. Do you think a lot of these people in places like Florida and Texas are going to try to pull something? I wouldn't. There's a lot of places here in Louisiana. No. I wouldn't.
But in Chicago, Philadelphia,
exactly,
and Antifa land out west.
Yeah, Portland, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Yeah. And look, remember, we've had mayors out there. Like what was the woman mayor in Baltimore 10 years ago with the riots there, and she literally told the police, just let them riot. I think was her words. Let them loot. Just stand down and let them get it out of their system.
She's not exactly the originator of that technique.
No, she's not. So anyway, point is that you have a litany of these things. Y'all can go check out EBT of TikTok. It is a bunch of these things, and boy, they have been loading. They're just grabbing them off. These are just people doing stuff on TikTok. Woman explains how she's forced to buy generic brand food since EBT is getting cut. Oh, the horror of having to buy Food Club and Great Value. Oh, no.
Paper Bird.
Not the Kirkland's brand at Costco. Please, Lord, the horror.
Kirkland has a brand of vodka that's become very in vogue. These gigantic bottles of Kirkland.
I know.
Vodka. Yeah.
I've bought the Kirkland's red wine before. You know what? It's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. But you can go over here and see a lot of these. But there, look, let me tell you, there's a number of videos out there, and this is the point. You've got scores of people it's now in vogue in social media this week with the apparent at this point we are less than, what are we, 28 hours away at this point from the termination of SNAP benefits, at least on a temporary basis until the Democrats can get their shit together. Terminating the SNAP benefits. They want to force Donald Trump to raid the emergency cookie jar. Again, Democrats deflecting the fact that it's totally in their power. The bill hasn't even reached Donald Trump's desk. Donald Trump hasn't vetoed a damn thing, okay? The Democrats have the power to pass the bill that has come through the House, to pass it in the Senate, to end the filibuster, move it in there, and all of this ends tomorrow. The reason they don't want to do it is because it doesn't contain all the extra massive amounts of pork and, let's face it, dark money that they've been used to for so long that have funneled through things like USAID and going to Democrat pet projects that basically turn around and help support Democrat election efforts in the midterms next year. That's what they're really looking for. And they're trying to bury it behind all this other stuff. But you got this gaggle of people out there right now that have spent not a year, not 2 years, not 5 years, but 2, 3, 4, 5 generations of people that have lived on the welfare system. I think, Ron Coleman, give me your thoughts on this as kind of a final bit for tonight. And that is this an opportunity here for the Republicans and for Donald Trump, letting the Democrats, if they really want to, die on this hill? Does this give them an opportunity to really force into public view the desire for massive welfare reform?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't know that I would be prepared to give them credit for having planned it that way.
I'm not saying they planned. The Democrats, they don't want to vote for it, and the Republicans are like, you know what? We're going to take this opportunity. Hey, look, the last time we had it, Ron, was what, 1994 with Newt Gingrich, the contract with America. Remember, right. they had to drag Bill Clinton kicking and screaming over the line to sign on to welfare reform after the Republicans decimated the midterm elections and took everything, basically.
And he signed it so he wouldn't be overridden.
Exactly. Because he would have been. That. Bill Clinton, they had enough power to override Clinton's veto. So he had to go along with the balanced budget. He was forced to go along with welfare reform and work requirements. What if the Republicans are going to say, hey, we can make this the hallmark of the 2026 midterm elections, massive welfare reform? Because look at what we just got. Look at all the people that are on TikTok right now screaming about, if we don't get our check, if we don't get our free money, we're going to riot, we're going to loot. We've got people on this page on Libs of TikTok, or on EBT of TikTok, talking about how, hey, some of y'all that walk out the grocery store on Saturday, we're going to follow you to your car. and we're going to take your basket in this. And I'm like, now you're getting stupid. Because let me tell you what, that is going to get you shot. But now they're talking about like threatening individual citizens and putting them into a position where they're going to be acting in self-defense.
Yeah, but
Valiant, this is crazy.
But Valiant, in the big blue cities, self-defense is against the law.
Exactly. It may work in New Orleans. It may not work. Well, you can still carry in New Orleans. But, I mean, it may work in Chicago, but it ain't going to work in some of the suburbs and other places, in places like Texas and Louisiana. But that's the point, is you got people out there, like this is not just a couple of people. You can scroll. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos just in a couple of days. And these are just the ones they've found and reposted. Just like Kaya on Libs of TikTok does with all of the crazy school teachers and the blue-haired biddies that want to, queer up your kids in pre-K. This is the same thing. it's getting a little scary out there. And I'm thinking that this is something that if the Republicans haven't figured this out yet, this needs to become a major campaign issue for 2026. This is a winning issue because this can't continue in its present form. I'm not opposed, to be clear to everybody out there, I'm not opposed for people that are in truly desperate need. Everybody has bad times in their life. I don't have an issue with, having something where people really need temporary assistance. And that's what that kind of program was designed for, whether it was food stamps or Section 8 or cash welfare benefits. Now they pay 90% of your insurance premiums too. Medicaid, there has to be a limit. You can't spend your entire life on it. You can't spend your kids and their kids and 3, 4, 5, 6 generations deep that they've lived in welfare. I mean, it's and look, we all know why it's there. It's meant to make sure that certain people stay as, voting subjects of a certain political party, Democrats. I mean, it's the bottom line of it. And I think this is where the Democrats are screwing up. I think people are seeing through this, or at least more people are seeing through this. And I'm hoping this perpetuates a much deeper discussion going into an election year next year. I don't know, Ron, if you have any different thoughts on that, but as we kind of
I think it's
wind it down.
unavoidable. I think the face of entitlement, the term entitlements was first started getting used in the 70s to refer to categories of benefits. Nobody, I think, ever dreamt that it would mean what it means today, which is a sense of moral and metaphysical entitlement that these people have. There's going to be a real audience for reform. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think there will be. I really do think there will be. And look, I know there's a lot of people out there, and I'll try to pull this up real quick. There's a lot of people out there that want to use certain founding language and there's people on that EBT of TikTok page. You can go find it. I just want to show everybody this. This is what always drives me nuts. And I wrote an article about this in a local paper probably about 15 years ago. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare. Yeah. And they want to take that literally as, oh, well, there you go. It says the government should do welfare. No, I'm not kidding. There are so many people that believe this and post. I saved them. I scrolled past some of them on TikTok. And they see that word, the general welfare, and that means within the United States, that means the federal government should be charged with providing housing, health care, free food and groceries, education, childcare, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, the article I wrote about 15 years, I got to go back and find it. I said, here's the issue. There's a second place in the Constitution that language applies. Because I'm like, I'm going to decimate and destroy this general welfare argument doesn't mean what some people out there think it means. Okay? So here it is. Article 1, Section 8 is the second time that verbiage appears in the Constitution. The Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, excises, to pay the debts, and to provide for the common defense and the general welfare of the United States. It's the second time that appears in the Constitution following the preamble. And then what, Ron, what happens in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution? What do they list?
The power to the government to advance the welfare of the United States of America.
Exactly. The common defense and the general welfare is not a nebulous, vapid remark in the document. They literally spent an entire section in Article 1 enumerating in great specificity what the common defense and the general welfare powers of Congress is. And they're all right here.
and it's the general welfare of the United States.
Yeah.
We think of the United States as the name of a country, and it is the name of a nation state, as it is. But the usage of the United States in 1789 meant these states that have united in order to form this more perfect union. In other words, these are the powers the government is going to have. And because the Articles of Confederation were so insufficient, we're going to do something that we didn't do right this time, which is to actually advance the general welfare of the United States, not merely just string together a bunch of independent states that are going to go their own way. It's got nothing to do with welfare.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you get to apply, like this isn't a Barack Obama campaign commercial. It's not a platitude. It's not hope and change, and all this kind of stuff. It's enumerated. They're enumerated powers. We're going to provide for postal roads, which are the interstates and the U.S. highway systems. We're going to, we can coin money. We can issue debt. Tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. The patent office. Provide an army, a navy to provide for calling forth the militia. I mean, it's all, look, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization. Oh, you mean like immigration and stuff? Wait, that's in the federal? Oh, no, it's constitutional. Uniform laws on bankruptcies. So like bankruptcy courts, right? My point is this: to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the states. Look, it's very well laid out. The federal government was meant to be limited. The federal government was never built to create a forced retirement system in the country or to create a forced, everybody has free health care provided by the gifts of the treasuries. In this case, to coin a founder's phrase, a republic until people figure out to vote themselves gifts from the treasury. This is it. So when people out there watching, when they want to give you the United States was built to provide for the general welfare, and they think that means food stamps and Section 8 and everything else. So, no. General welfare was very, very expressly defined. Go to Article 1, Section 8, then shut up and leave the room. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's not there. If the individual states, if the state of Louisiana wanted to create a welfare system, hey, that's up to the state of Louisiana. Because that's the province of the states and the local governments. If you want to do that, you can do that, but we don't do that at the federal level. Simple as that, right? But when the federal government is paying for the whole thing, that's the no-no. So anyway, Ron, good to see you again, my friend. Chat, you guys have been awesome. We got one more super chat here from Puck971 for $10. Ron, will we get a Republican governor? My per lunch cost is $4.45 because I eat the same thing every day.
He's getting his $10 worth, okay?
Yeah.
These are not related comments.
Gotcha. He says, because I eat the same thing every day. Oatmeal, apple, orange, and almonds. You can eat healthy and cheap. It just takes effort. So will we get a Republican governor? Puck, are you in Jersey?
You'd have to assume.
I'm guessing so. So, I mean, he knows. So, Ron, you're in Jersey. So let's assume we're talking about New Jersey here. What you think?
Yeah, I think it's I think we got a real shot. I think good things are moving in the right direction.
It seems like it. Again, the trend lines in 24 really seem to mention that. I mean, just seeing that shift to the right.
Even though Chuck Schumer is reminding people of how cruel Republicans are. And think of how many dead bodies will be stacked up by Election Day because of Snap.
That's it. All right, Ron, thank you so much. You got anything coming up you want to plug before we head out?
No, my life is I'm really just playing it out. You know that. I'm just, just playing it out. Great to see you, Valiant.
I got
always.
You. You too, Ron Coleman. Thank you, guys.
Good night,
Make sure
everyone.
you
Thanks for
like,
joining us.
subscribe. Yeah, like, subscribe to Twitter, on
Yeah,
X,
come on, all the
YouTube,
things.
everybody, to Ron, to me, depending if you're watching on Ron, come sub to me. If you're watching on my channel, go sub to Ron. Good stuff. Everything is fun. Everything is fun. Hey, since the NBA has been in the news lately, we talked about the NBA earlier. Let's leave you with this one.
Easton leads the scoring with 4. And that's why she commands $7,000 a year. These gals sure do make it look difficult. But is having this minor skill worth being so unattractive? That's for the fan to decide. Yay!
All
My
right,
face
good night,
is all
folks.
flushed with laughter. Good night, everyone.
That's it.
You got the right to remain silent. You got the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we will provide you with the dumbest fucking lawyer on earth.